for Pitt. Intercepted by Ray Hubble, who may go all the way again. He's going to be cut off near the sideline. He was tripped by a man standing in front of the Winnipeg bench.
First down, Edmonton with the football. McManus going up top for Eddie Brown. What a catch! Eddie Brown! Touchdown, Edmonton! Penalty markers down all over the field.
Illegal substitution, too many men on the field, Saskatchewan.
From 33 yards out to win the 97th Grey Cup. Ball down, ball through.
Good morning, everybody. This is Thursday morning. It's the Football A podcast. I'm excited to be here. Big Hoppa, Bryce, Hopwood, Anthony, the Milkman, Ventura. That nickname has now become ironic more than anything. But look, last week, Eastern semis, my Stampeders had a tough go. We'll just say that. I don't know that Saskatchewan would have played much better, but
we would have.
But look, we have the Eastern and Western finals set now. We have a team with 16 wins in the regular season that, look, they can see if they can go win the whole dang thing, right? So we can start with last week, recap a little bit there. And want to start with the Calgary game, or do you want to start with the other game?
Well, let's start with your Stampeders, even though they were in the second game, just because I like talking about them losing.
Yeah, Calgary, first right away score, Jake Meyer, wide open, gorgeous pass, and then I don't think they scored until the fourth.
They didn't score another touchdown to the fourth. They had some field goals, but no touchdowns in there. Yeah,
so tough showing. Vernon Adams did the thing where he's really good. All-time performance. I think it was 3 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing, or 2 passing.
He had 2 passing and 3 rushing.
Yeah, my bad.
He threw for 413, so he just mauled them all game.
Yeah, I mean it would. I was excited because I thought the defense could hold up, but alas, not the case for my Peters. And I saw some stuff this week about Vernon Adams maybe not getting enough credit for how good he is in comparison to the league, especially when you have like Caleros, who's going to be, we won't go back to back, but definitely probably could have been in that conversation if it wasn't for Oliveira having 1,500 this year. But I mean, I don't know. I don't see why Vernon wouldn't be considered the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah. I mean, the only downside to them, I mean, I guess they're 12-6, which is only a game behind Winnipeg. And I don't know. I was going to say, and I guess it's most outstanding, not most valuable. So in theory, you could have a guy on Ottawa have won it if they were really that good. Yeah. But yeah, I think he should probably be getting more love in our extensive 4-week knowledge of CFL football. I think Vernon Adams is the best player in the league, but that's again, we're not exactly the most experienced.
Yeah, it would be hard to disagree. I mean, certainly a little bit of recency bias coming off the incredible playoff game. I mean, there's no shortage of that. I mean, obviously it was a masterful performance, but then we had some absolute fireworks, if you will, in the Hamilton game. I think it's Chris Edwards suspended 3 games, which I'm assuming he'll have to do next year. That's something that I'm interested in, how that would work for next year. But in their loss, Montreal, our boy Caleb Evans, shout out. He'll be in the Eastern final this week against Toronto. And so the end of the game, I mean, Montreal pulled away. I mean, both games kind of had the same tenor where it was a little bit close early, and then one of the teams pulled away, and then it just kind of went to nothing at the end. But a lot of fireworks at the end. I was going crazy. I was like, I wanted to see it, but I was also like, guys, stop.
It was not something that I pictured happening in a CFL game, to be honest. Again, the stereotype of Canadians, but just I was not expecting it. I don't know. Does this happen frequently or semi-frequently? Does this happen a couple times a year, or is this truly a one-off, never happens kind of thing, which is why they're suspending guys now? I'd love to know that what the vibe of the CFL is there.
Yeah, I would imagine when you play the same team like 3 times in a regular season that there's probably a little bit of animosity, but that being said, we have no basis. That's why we love our listeners who then usually tell us after. So also part of this, the Ticats, Omar Bayless was a guy who we talked about, you and I just texting. That was kind of fun, and we can talk about that. But for Montreal, Jeshurun Antwi, it's early. This is Thursday morning at 7:15 where I am, so bear with me, fans. But I mean, he's gotten enough. He's gotten enough run over the last couple weeks off of Stanbeck, where that could be important. When it comes to, I mean, he gets a fine, no suspension, but which I thought was kind of crazy, but that can kind of make the vibe of a team weird.
Yeah, I agree. It makes it hard. At the same time, it's the playoffs, so you kind of got to get past it and lock in. Especially, I mean, you're a game away from the Grey Cup at this point. Kind of gotta lock in, put everything else behind you.
That's a great point, and let's talk about going to the Grey Cup because it's finals week. Get your studying in, everybody. Eastern final, Montreal at Toronto, like I mentioned. Toronto 16-2. Very, very interested to see. I mean, we know what happened with Edmonton in '89, and obviously now at this point, my Peters are out. No Saskatchewan. Our friend Caleb Evans, he's on one of these sidelines. I mean, what do we think of this ball game?
Okay, so I know last week we sent out the poll thing. I picked Toronto to win the whole thing. They're 16-2. We talked about how great Chad Kelly is. I think I'm going to pick Montreal. They looked really good last week. They looked awesome, dominant on both sides of the ball. I'm very tempted to take Montreal, and I think I'm going to do it. We're taking the Alouettes to go to the Grey Cup over Toronto.
Wow.
That's my take of the week. That's my take of the week.
I love that. Presented by us. It's tough because Cody Fajardo looked great.
Yeah.
Frankly, we talked about last week, he led the league in completion percentage last week, or for the season. We talked about that last week. Beverett, really talented. I mean, they have the pieces on defense and they can fly around, like you said. I'm excited to see, but hard to argue with 16-2.
Hard to argue with 16-2.
Very hard. I would maybe argue. One thing I did have was Toronto had the best rush defense and the second worst pass defense this week. Or not this week, this season. I don't know why I keep saying that. In Montreal, rush D was about middle of the pack and the second best pass defense. So I think if there's any good competition for Chad Kelly in Toronto, I think this is probably the best matchup. But I think it's likely that Toronto comes away with the W. Caleb, I'm sorry, bro. You know what? No, I'm going to turn. Let's go. Alouettes. Go Als. Come on.
Go in Alouettes.
Yes.
I love it.
Go. We've made one friend, one CFL friend, for sure in Caleb Evans. I can't go against that. I am too loyal to my boys. Go Als, baby.
I love that. Unfortunately, I just double checked. Toronto is in fact 3-0 this year against Montreal. And the only game they played in Toronto, they won 39-10.
Hard to beat it.
Which doesn't bode well for us.
Hard to beat a team 4 times this season.
Sure is. That many are saying that it's hard to beat a team 4 times.
There's a lot of tape. They've got a lot of tape to see.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, not great. Let's go on to the Western Final. I'm excited for this one. BC and VA at Winnipeg. Look, it looked like some reports during the week. Some of the more top tier skill players for Winnipeg weren't practicing, or were light practicing. That makes me a little nervous going into this one. I did pick Winnipeg to win the Grey Cup. And I stand by it. I still think they're the best team that I've seen in these last 4 weeks for sure in the CFL. So that being said, VA coming off of an all-time playoff performance in what felt like to me, I'm very nervous for that bet.
Yeah. So I really don't want to pick both underdogs. But Vernon Adams is off. Like we just said, we think he's the best player in the league. Granted, Caleros has won back-to-back MOPs, but I don't care. I'm rolling. Let's go BC. I don't care. I picked Winnipeg to win. I'm picking the Lions, Vernon Adams Jr. to have another monster game, and they're going to the Grey Cup final.
Wow. That's
where I'm at.
That is crazy. By the way, we should mention this week, the line, if you're a gambler, 10.5 for Montreal, Toronto, over under 50.5. This week, BC is a 4.5 point dog to Winnipeg, and the over under in that game is 50. So I'm excited to see what we got here.
Sorry, I'd just like to point out they played 2 games this year in Winnipeg. The first one, BC won 30-6, smoked them. The second game, Winnipeg won 50-14, another smoke them. So this game feel like really could go either way. I would like to point out that second game that BC got smoked, Vernon Adams didn't play. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all. The one time they played in Winnipeg with Vernon, BC dominated them.
Now I'll say the one thing that I do love about the CFL, I kind of complained earlier in the year, like when we first started this, like a month ago. I complained about like stats being available, but when you do the stats through, I love the CFL has the sheet of stats, especially when it comes to team stuff. That's very easy. I'm very interested to see how this BC defense holds up, because both of these teams, and I find it interesting that the over under would be 50, because BC was been allowing 24 points a game through the regular season, Winnipeg with just under 21. So I'm confused because both teams also allowed was Winnipeg fewest yards allowed in the league. BC is second fewest. So I'm very interested to see how that correlates, and if they just think the offensive talent after Vernon Adams' explosion, and then obviously between Caleros and Oliveira, that offensive firepower that they have for Winnipeg, what's going to happen here.
Yeah, my guess is it would be a relatively high-scoring game. Again, the time that BC played in Winnipeg with Vernon, they scored 30. And the other time, Winnipeg scored 50. So, again, probably the two best. I feel bad disrespecting Swag Kelly. Probably the two best quarterbacks in the league. Just monsters. I have to go with the offensive talent here. I just have to. We're going high scoring. I'll take the over. Don't care what the number is. I'm taking it.
Doesn't care what the number is, folks. You heard it here. It's sharp as it gets here on the Football A podcast. But look, at the end of the day, it's a hard, in my mind, I guess. I don't know. Does Vegas set these lines? I don't know.
I'm going to pretend that it's Ottawa just for fun.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I think that's
Yeah,
totally fair. Yeah,
Ottawa set these lines.
Ottawa definitely sets these lines, and in my head, I see, excuse me, I see Winnipeg minus 4.5. Even after that great game, I got to think there's something there. I think I'm going to take Winnipeg to win the ball game, but I think I'm going to be on the over with you there. You know what? I'm going to lock that in right now.
Yes, sir. Lock in the over, but we're on the BC money line.
Ooh, okay. Okay, big boy, I see you. Yeah, let me be distracted here for 1 second, but no, I gotta take Winnipeg. Obviously, I gotta stick with my choice to who I picked to win the Grey Cup. Like I don't know, 3 weeks ago when I saw them play one time. So that's I'm loyal to a fault. Um, okay, moving on. Uh, I asked the CFL Reddit. The post got a lot of love. Obviously, I feel more at home at the CFL Reddit sometimes than I do in my own home, but especially lately it feels like. But I asked for some of the most iconic playoff like plays, moments, that kind of stuff. And there was like 100 comments. A few of obviously going to be repeating when you get that deep into it, but I sent you a couple of my favorite personally. um and so that would include the first one that I liked, I think the most, was in the 45th Grey Cup. We had the tripper, the guy on the Winnipeg sideline, and an interception for, I think it was Winnipeg or somebody. I didn't realize this, but fans were like, there was obviously no stands back then, and fans were like right next to the field. Apparently this guy had impersonated there's two separate ones. One was the 44th Grey Cup and one was the 45th, where I might be mixing stories a little bit, but regardless, this guy, interception, going down the sideline, he gets tripped by a fan, a little bit of a scuffle ensues. It's great. In the 44th Grey Cup, somebody scores, I believe it's the winning touchdown. And then the fan that's right there on the sideline, because like the catch is like along the boundary line in the end zone, and he like catches it, takes a couple steps, and the fan just rips the ball out of his hands. That one is a good one too. And what did you think? I sent you the tripper. What did you think of that one?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I won't lie. It was pretty insane.
Yeah, just he's like like definitely going for 6, and just boom, all of a sudden he goes down.
Ugh.
We'll move it. We'll go youngest or oldest to youngest. Next was downtown Eddie Brown, the catch, the Grey Cup in '96.
Yep.
I mean, just an incredible, insane catch in the snow.
Yeah, the fact that he was able to make that catch and stay on his feet and then keep running and obviously score the touchdown is just crazy. And I think I was looking it up the other day. That's the 84th Grey Cup. I think that was the opening score of the game. To score that, to open at least the touchdowns in the game, is insane. Like, double credit to downtown Eddie Brown there, because that's truly a way to make a splash.
The one problem I had is when I was looking it up on YouTube and that kind of stuff, the clip from the 45th Grey Cup with the tripper was arguably more clear viewing than the one that was on YouTube. Not as grainy almost, and I was appalled by that kind of technology. But then we got one that's probably a little bit painful for you. It seemed like it was probably the most, I would argue, the most famous, just based off the responses. But 2009, Montreal, Saskatchewan, the 13th man. They have a man in the end zone to return the kick. There's 13 men on the field. Saskatchewan, obviously, Montreal goes. I mean, I'm sure whoever is listening to this obviously knows this, but for the sake of us not knowing, Montreal misses the game-winning kick the final play of the game. Saskatchewan, 13 men, boom, another kick. Obviously, as we know, in this league, these kickers are automatic. Doesn't miss this one. Montreal with the Grey Cup win over Saskatchewan. How does that make you feel as a newly born Saskatchewan fan, and knowing more about the roots a little bit?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it stings. It stings really bad. That's a very Cleveland Browns-esque mistake. That's something that only one of my teams could possibly do because that's how we are. Cursed franchise, some would argue. Yeah, it's bad. And then the more you look into it, the worse it gets. I mean, we were up 27-11 with 7 minutes left in that game.
Yeah.
We were up. One thing I found was interesting. So Montreal scored to go down. They were down 2 with 1:45 left, and they didn't kick it onside. Like in the NFL, that's a 100% no doubt they kick an onside kick there. It's weird to me that they didn't kick the onside. That's just one of the CFL NFL differences. But yeah, I mean, that's about as painful as a loss gets in any sport, truly, having the miss, but having the penalty. That's as bad as it gets, I won't lie.
Oh man. You just hate to see it. Some of the other ones that I wrote down, Tony Gabriel, that was a good one. The 64th Grey Cup, the 79th Grey Cup, Rocket Ismail return, gets a beer can thrown at him as he's about to like score. That one was crazy. The 102nd, we had that would have been in 2011, I believe. Or no, I think that would have been, that's wrong.
97 was 09. So 107 was 2018.
Yeah, thank you. And then so the second would be -5. 2013. Banks return to seemingly win the game. Flag flies, block in the back, brings it back. That one's a heart wrencher as well. And yeah, so I was excited. I'm glad we got the chance. This is probably something we'll do in the off season here. Obviously, we'll probably have them. We haven't really talked about what our plan for the off season is yet. Obviously, this is pretty small outfit yet still, but we're hoping to continue to grow. We really appreciate everybody to this point. Make sure you go to the YouTube or on Spotify. Still working on the Apple thing because they're ridiculous, but that's also a choice that I made and whatever. I put myself in this blender, but all right, Ant. So you have Montreal, BC, the two dogs.
Oh, yeah.
I have Toronto and Winnipeg, the two powerhouses of the year, if you will. My Blue Bombers that's really tough because if Montreal wins and then if it's a Montreal Winnipeg final and or Grey Cup and I have Caleb Evans on one side and I have Winnipeg, who I bet on the other, I'm going to be in an absolute mental pretzel. But I'm excited. It just stinks. We talked about it, was that 2 weeks ago, maybe, about needing more teams and more games. I would like for this to be the semifinal round, but hey, we're at the finals. There's a lot of juice in the CFL world right now. The Grey Cup is not too far away, folks. The 110th Grey Cup is not too far away. Ant, you have anything else for us today?
I'm excited. I'm excited to see these. I mean, again, like you said, ton of juice for the games this weekend. I'm stoked to watch this.
I think we have to some of the more. I think we probably have the 4 best teams. I think that it's probably right. I don't know if that's a thing that happens too often where there's too many upsets or anything like that in the semifinals into the finals. But we got the Lemonator, Caleb Evans. We got Chad Kelly, studs over there in Toronto. We got
4 awesome quarterbacks. All 4 quarterbacks are really, really good this round.
Yeah. And I would argue Montreal is the deepest at quarterback with Caleb Evans, usually second fiddle there. So BC, Vernon Adams, and then Winnipeg, obviously the offensive firepower that they have. So I think that's going to do it. Bo Levi Mitchell, some fiery comments after the Hamilton loss. Yeah, go check those out. That was interesting. Bo Levi, from what I gather, kind of reading things and message boards and Reddit and that kind of stuff. it's been a tough couple years for him. So I'm excited to talk a little bit more about this stuff in the offseason and where guys go. Because I think from what I've seen, there's a lot of interesting player movement. Obviously, there's only 9. If you're on one team, there's only 8 other options in free agency and stuff. So I'm excited to get to that. But obviously, I'm excited to see who hoists the 110th Grey Cup first. So I think that's going to do it for us here at the Football A Pod. And Big Hoppa signing off.